The screen opens with a panoramic view of the Paris skyline at midnight. The streets are eerily quiet, bathed in the pale glow of the moon. Sophie Dubois, wearing her trench coat and carrying her camera bag, walks briskly through the empty streets. The journal is clutched tightly in her hand. Sophie, midnight. They said to be ready. But ready for what? I didn't know if I was chasing answers or walking straight into a trap. Sophie stops in front of a rusted gate partially hidden by overgrown ivy. This isn't one of the tourist entrances to the catacombs. The air feels colder here. She checks the map in the journal, confirming the symbol matches the one etched into the gate. The serpent coiled around the hourglass. Sophie muttering, "This is it." With a deep breath, she pushes the gate open. The metal creaks loudly, and Sophie winces, glancing around to ensure she's alone. Beyond the gate, a narrow staircase spirals downward into darkness. Sophie turns on her flashlight and begins descending the stairs. The sound of her footsteps echoes ominously. The walls are damp, covered in moss and faint carvings of symbols similar to those in the journal. She pauses to take a photo with her camera, the flash briefly illuminating the passage. About halfway down, Sophie hears a faint noise behind her. She freezes, holding her breath. The sound, a faint scraping, grows louder, as though someone or something is following her. Sophie nervously, "Hello? Is someone there?" Silence. Sophie shines her flashlight back up the stairs but sees nothing. Shaking her head, she continues downward, moving faster now. At the bottom of the staircase, Sophie steps into a cavernous room filled with rows of skulls and bones meticulously arranged along the walls. This part of the catacombs feels ancient, untouched by time. In the center of the room stands a stone pedestal, and on it sits a strange artifact, a small metal cube covered in engraved symbols. Sophie approaches cautiously, her flashlight illuminating the cube. She takes out the journal, flipping to a page that depicts a drawing of the artifact. Next to the drawing is a warning: "Do not touch until you're sure." Sophie whispering, "Sure of what?" She notices faint footprints in the dust leading away from the pedestal and deeper into the catacombs. Kneeling down, she takes a photo of the cube and the footprints. As she stands, her flashlight flickers. The air grows colder, and Sophie feels a presence behind her. Slowly, she turns to see the shadowy figure from the cafe standing at the edge of the room. It doesn't move but seems to ripple and distort, as though it's made of smoke. Sophie, terrified, "Who are you? What do you want?" The figure raises a hand, pointing toward the pedestal. Sophie steps back, clutching the journal to her chest. The shadow begins to advance, its form growing taller and more menacing. Panicking, Sophie grabs her camera and snaps a photo. The flash momentarily blinds her, and when her vision clears, the shadow is gone. Sophie, breathing heavily, "This is insane. What the hell is going on?" Determined to find answers, Sophie follows the footprints deeper into the catacombs. The air becomes harder to breathe, and the tunnel narrows. She comes across another chamber, this one filled with strange carvings on the walls. At the center is a large stone door with the serpent and hourglass symbol carved into it. Sophie examines the door, finding a small indentation that matches the size and shape of the metal cube from earlier. She flips through the journal, finding a passage that reads, "The key reveals the truth, but at a cost." Sophie, to herself, the cube is the key. She hesitates, looking back down the tunnel. The faint sound of whispers drifts toward her, growing louder. Sophie grabs the cube from her bag and places it into the indentation. The carvings on the door begin to glow faintly, and the whispers stop. The stone door creaks open, revealing a blinding white light. Sophie shields her eyes, stepping cautiously toward the doorway. Just as she crosses the threshold, the screen cuts to black, and the sound of a loud, echoing boom is heard. "Sophie, I thought I was ready for the truth, but nothing could have prepared me for what I found on the other side." End of episode 2.